Okay, we've had the chat about Crazy Cowboy festivals, which is phenomenal. Now Alec is going to have a little chat about the current music scene and basically what needs to change. Over to you.
Okay. Well, none of us can change the music scene overnight or anything. But what I wanted to speak to you, Will, about is how do we maintain the music scene? How do all these bands that we're working with now and loving, how are they still going to be there in not just 20 years or 10 years or 5 years? How are they still going to be there in 2 years?
It's the sustainability of the current market.
Sustainability. When we're in a completely different market now, everyone knows that. You know, bands don't make money out of record sales. There just isn't money in the pot. There is no money to be made in this business, apart from a section which none of us see. You know, that will never change. We don't know them anyway. But now all the bands playing now are playing for exactly the same reasons as all the bands started playing 40, 50 years ago, 30, whatever. Your UFOs, your Black Sabbath, your Deep Purple, everyone. It's because they have a passion for creating music and basically creating real quality of life.
It's a product as well. It's a product that they deeply love, and they're sharing it with public who also love it.
They're making a difference.
Yeah.
Music is art, and art is beauty. Art and beauty, nature, environment, these things are important. Money isn't important. It's not important at all. You can't take money to your grave, but if you create something which makes a difference, which is magical, that stays forever. It gets passed on from generation to generation.
It's whether that magic can be portrayed to the general public, who actually then get a chance to listen or see it, to actually appreciate it. That's the problem. Yeah,
that's the problem. And so going off on that course, what happens at the moment? Well, back in my day, I'm 135 years old, so you know I grew up with Tommy Vance and the Friday Rock Show, and to get 2 hours of rock music every Friday night on the BBC, I don't know anyone my age who didn't listen to it. It was just incredible, and it broke those bands. It really did. I don't see why the BBC can't be persuaded to come back with something with the right angle on what they're playing. They come up with new genres of shows all the time. So the BBC is a possibility, and if it became a possibility, that would be the best thing that is possible in terms of radio play for the upcoming bands.
I know, because there's a lot of the local BBC stations do this BBC introducing thing, don't they? Where
they do, don't they? They don't do it here. No, it's so annoying.
But a lot of the bands like you're talking about and that we know
Kent do it a lot.
Have been on there.
Yeah.
But it's a very limited audience. It's a local audience, and it needs to be on a national scale so that everybody can see these people or hear them.
So which national radios are the most well-known ones?
Well, music-wise,
Rock, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's a digital radio station. It's not even a commercial, a normal standard radio station. It's a digital radio station, but it's probably for rock music certainly the biggest one in the country. Because Radio 1's more your commercial type music, dance music now, and all that sort of stuff that I hate mostly.
So Planet Rock relies on advertising.
Absolutely.
Correct? So Planet Rock is a business, it's a large business, and as a business it needs to make money and it needs to increase its money. So the way it conducts its business, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I can't knock Planet Rock in any way. They are great to listen to, it is a great thing, there's kind of 24/7 music.
Music that we love.
Music that we love, you know. But they need to play stuff which lots of people will listen to. So then there's loads of ears listening to the radio station, and those ears then hear the adverts, and that's how it works. It's similar to magazines, newspapers, and social media. It's the amount of eyes on that. With radio, it's the amount of ears. That's what's all important. So to get the amount of ears, they have to continually play your AC/DCs, your Black Sabbaths, you know, your Led Zeppelins, you know, endlessly, you know. And yeah, they come on and they're great. But that doesn't leave a lot of room for all these bands who don't have record sales or much chance of sustainability to get out there. So,
but they have the talent.
They certainly had the bloody talent, and I think in some ways, I mean, I think there's more talent now than there probably was 40 years ago.
I absolutely agree, because I think
there's advances in technology for start, and in instruments, you know.
I think the amount of live music or live, bands that play live nowadays is phenomenal. And, and I'm discovering them all the time.
Yeah.
And I know you are.
Yeah, yeah.
And
every day.
And you discover someone else, you hell, these guys are amazing.
Came across this band called Gallows Circus 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Phenomenal band.
Yeah.
Can't wait to go and bloody see them.
But
that'll be the next few weeks, I'm sure.
But like you're saying, it's sustainability of it. Will they still be around in a year? Will they not? You know, if they can't make any money out of what they do, or
and we've seen bands packing in.
Yeah. Not
almost at the same rate as venues closing down in the last few months, haven't we?
Well, kind of the two kind of go hand in hand a little bit, though.
Yeah.
You know, the venues rely on people through the door, and people won't come through the door if they don't know the band that's performing so much. Right. And to know the band that's performing, they haven't heard them on the radio or wherever. So
radio is key. Radio has
a vicious circle.
Radio as an entire medium has responsibility to nurture the music industry. Because as I said before, music is art, and art is beauty, and these things matter. Money doesn't fucking matter at all. They're a business, so they have to make money. But if they can't nurture it, and if we reach a stage where we're celebrating, we're jumping out and down because someone as brilliant as Chris Barris has been played with Hail Mary 8 times in a week, this has got to change. You know, because that's ridiculous. People like that should be on every hour. And these guys, you know, all behind here, all these people here, they should be on every hour, and people should be able to listen to them all the time. There's Mr. Argent of Gorilla Riot, you know, they should be on all the fucking time. There's probably not a more talented band in this country than Gorilla Riot. So what do? Well, Planet Rock can't just go, oh yeah, I see what you mean. Oh, fuck this. We'll just go bankrupt by playing all the new stuff. That's not going to happen, is it? But what can we do? I know DJs all around the country, right, who do it for the love of it. They play what they like generally. They sound great on the radio. I listened to this guy on Friday night called Lee Graham, who you know, who's doing Just Push Play with Massive Wagons headlining and the Amorettes, Hollow Star, Dead Man's Whiskey, False Hearts, and another band
Fallen
called
State, is it? Oh, Mafia.
Fallen Mafia. He played them. I listened to his radio show for the first time on Friday because he taught me how to download TuneIn.
Radio app.
It took Steph about 1 second. I didn't know it was that easy. It's a bit beyond me because I'm old. He played the other band, Fallen Mafia. Fuck me, they were fantastic. It was an exclusive as well. It hasn't been released. They gave it to Lee first. That's fair dues, you know. It was a great show, and it got me thinking. Well, these radio stations are all around the bloody country. None of these really are relying on advertising. Well, they can't be relying on advertising if they're letting the DJs play what they like.
I mean, there's still. I mean, I looked into internet radio a few years ago, and there's still, license-wise, you're only allowed to play. I think it's 3 tracks from a certain band within the 2 hours or 24 hours or something. Yeah. But it still gives you enough leeway to, as long as you've got the license, to play who you want. You know, to get all these new bands out there. But it needs to be national, not just little pockets.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's fucking do it. Let's galvanise together and come up with an alternative where these bands will network with a bunch of amazing DJs who have the passion and the heart and soul of rock and roll, and we galvanise it around the country, and we get it organised, and people tune in, and we come up with an alternative to what's going on at the moment. It's not all about Planet Rock. They can carry on, they'll always be listened to, they'll always make money, they'll always be fine. But they're not going to keep live music going at the level that needs to be looked after. Someone else has got to do it. So let's all fucking do it together.
I mean, looking at a radio station like Heart, commercial radio station, okay, which is from top to bottom of the country, but it's regionalised. Yeah. But the presenters are regionalised, but the music is the same wherever. You know, they have the same music playing up and down the country. Yeah. That's something that needs to be looked at. If that
listen, B listen.
But if that could be done, that amalgamation of all these little internet radio shows that are great and play this amazing music into one national way of doing it, and you can still have the DJs doing their slots. Yeah. But all this new music will reach that audience that it needs to reach to allow them to grow and be seen and heard, and to make these venues sell out, stop these places shutting down, and give these guys a future so that we can appreciate the music. Yeah.
And how do we get the message out there? It's simple. Once we galvanise it, we put people together and we've come up with a plan. We take that to all the gigs at the grassroots level. Grassroots level, 500-600 capacity or less. We just send them all out to all these Facebook groups which are sprouting around. You know, there's a couple of really big ones there now. You know, there's no reason why we can't unite and make this doable. You know, so
it's in everyone's best
interest. Come up with a
interest.
plan and we can spread the word about listening to, you know, the radio shows which will play your Chris Barris's, well, he's probably getting played more and more now anyway by Tank Rock, but you know, your Bad Touches, Those Damn Crows, Gorilla Riot, Dead Man's Whisky, all these bands, you know.
No, it's something that if it happens, which hopefully it will do, Vive la Revolution. That's what we need.
I've always liked a bit of revolution.
Hashtag Vive la Revolution.
Always liked a bit of revolution.
Or Cowboy Revolution, that's what it should be. Then, yeah, I mean, if that could be achieved, then that would be amazing. It will be amazing not only for the fans, but the musicians, the bands, the live venues that won't need to shut. Because there will be people.
Breaks my heart every time a really good venue is going to shut down on the 22nd of June. They haven't announced it yet in the Midlands. It just breaks my heart.
Well, we went through it with the pubs, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, for many, the last 20, 30 years has been the same with the pubs. And it's happening with the music venues. I mean, where are these people going to play?
Exactly.
So, no, I mean...
We've got to nurture the venues.
Achieve it. Get it going. Get the revolution started and get it working.
And some of the bigger festivals, they are at fault. They are at fault for some of these venues closing down. They won't like hearing it, but they are. So let's... I'm not going to name any names. Because I don't need to. But let's look at the biggest festivals in this country. And I'm not talking about Download, because that's separate and actually does positive things for bands' careers at the bottom of the lineup. I'm going to think about some other very popular venues, festivals. So I'm not going to mention their name. It's funny how they're always announced as sold out almost from day one, isn't it? But it's also funny that I've been to some of them, I've never bought a ticket. I've never bought a fucking ticket for any of them. Right? They always have fantastic bands at the top. They're all 40 years old. The bands that, again, we're talking about, Will, they get on the lineup, they're always very excited about it. They always get paid maybe 100 quid if they're fucking lucky.
If at all.
If at all, or the deal is reneged on. Well, you know. And if anyone's listening to this and they want to make a lawsuit about anything, if I accidentally mention a name, bring it on. I don't give a fuck, to be honest. But, so yeah, they're all sold out, and it's always, oh yeah, we're 70% sold out more than last time. They don't sell any bloody tickets. They give them all away for free, right? Now let's think of that in a bit more detail, right? What does that do to the music industry? What does that do to the small venues? What does that do to bands like at the level of, I don't know, Building Giants, who are like up and coming, Mouth in the South, another band I've been talking to recently, who were trying to do gigs, but they've got to pay for the venue hire, and the minute they put a price on it, or put £5 or £7, people go, oh, I don't really want to pay for it. Why do they want to pay for it? Because all these fucking festivals with thousands and thousands of people are free in their heads. And what these festivals have done is they've devalued music. They've devalued live music. So they may have, in their original business plan, they may have decided they would do that for the first 6 months. But then once they realised how many people would come in and how high they could push up the price of the drinks, rum and coke £10.50.
Oh, and accommodation is the other thing they charge, isn't it?
Yeah, squeeze people into these caravans, things like that. They're onto a winner. They're onto a winner. I can't be sure, but they probably have some history of being very successful on 1830 club holidays, and then just brought the model over. So what they're doing, right, is they have devalued music to the point where no one is really happy about paying more than about £5 to go into a gig. Say you get 50 people going to a gig, and bands have travelled 200 miles, and the sound man's got to be paid for, the venue might have to be paid for on a higher basis, etc, etc. Where's this bloody money going to come from?
250 quid ain't going to cover it, is it?
You know, think about it, people. Where's it going to come from? So what I'm saying is, there is a reason why small venues are closing, and it's not because people aren't turning up, it's because big festivals have changed their mindset, and they think they're going there for free. They're not bloody going there for free. You go there, you pay £300–400 a day. You waste it all on booze, you're in there like a fucking sardine in a can, right? The vibe isn't there, there's fights, probably, or there's certainly agitation. We didn't get any of that, did we? You don't get any of that at Ramblin' Man, because it's open space, and let me just say, I'm not talking about Ramblin' Man here at all. That is the perfect festival, really.
Well, it's a perfect stage as well, a rising stage for these bands.
It brings them all up. Rising stage is just the best invention ever. You know, so, you know, people have to think, what are you going to go to? Do you want to be enjoying live music in 10 years? The big bands you go to see, realistically, are they going to be doing it in 10 years? No, they're not. Tribute bands covering it will be, but no, they're
Apart
not.
from the Rolling Stones, in about 50 years, will still be touring.
They'll be fine.
But apart from them,
they'll be absolutely fine.
they're an enigma. But yeah,
well, they are. They're the complete one-off, aren't they? But fair play to them.
But you're right, though. I mean, they won't be able to sustain playing because most of the bands that we know have real jobs as well. So they
do, all of them.
They're musicians in their parts in their spare time and the part time, and the reason they have to is because they've got to make money. They can't make it through the music.
No,
I can't make it through photography. So you all have to do other jobs.
I can't make it from promoting.
Exactly, but you do it because you love it.
Fuck. I love it.
You love it, and that's the reason that these guys do it. It's because they love playing live music.
That's dead.
Ah, it's killed his fate. See, his fate
anyway.
His fate won't be here tomorrow.
Give it a fire anytime.
But no, it needs that amalgamation of everything for people to get to see and listen and hear and all this new music. That, like you say, Rambling Man is a great model for these other festivals that where they put on the rising stage and you have these up and coming bands. I mean, you talked about Chris Barris earlier. Prime example. A couple of years ago, he played the rising stage at Rambling Man.
I was there.
His career is just taken off like a rocket since then.
I think I'm right in saying that was his life-changing day. I believe he got offered a deal after that performance.
Well,
it was amazing.
It certainly seems that was the springboard. Yeah. And it's been the springboard for a few bands that we know as well that have appeared. I mean, Guerrilla Riot did it last year. Dead Man's Whiskey were on there last. It was an amazing lineup last year. You know, this year
that rising stage was phenomenal.
Rainbreakers and that playing it this year. And stuff
of course they are. Yeah.
So it's another good thing. But it is a great platform for all these new bands that we know and love.
Hell's Bailey as well. I'm very happy about that.
So the blues, Rambling Man is my perfect festival because it's my kind of music, and there's something for everybody. I like downloads.
It's got haystacks as well. That's always cool.
It's just
takes you back to the 70s. Yeah.
It's a similar vibe though to your festivals. That's why I like it, and I know you try to model your festival vibes on Rambling Man because you love that. Like you say, it's like the 70s. That's what we need.
Happiness. Everyone's so happy.
CC4 has got to have haystacks then.
Yeah.
We can have an interview area with haystacks.
And all the fraud because I forgot him.
Oh yes, you did. Yeah. But
sorry, Will.
No. I mean, like I say, revolution-wise, it needs to be done.
Yeah, and there's another there's another link to that as well. I don't want to sound like I'm some little speck of dust who's desperately trying to kick big ventures which have done lots of good and are very successful. But it doesn't sit with me right that there's a tiny little 3% at the top of this music industry who are just milking all the money, and then there's nothing for all the people who bloody create it. Right? So with the festivals, at what point is someone going to take a hit and say, look, we cannot keep promising the bands from the 70s and the 80s who were superstars and arena bands at the top of the bill? When is someone going to take a chance and say, you know what, this scene is so good, if we just pick one of these great bands and give them one of these prominent priority slots at the top or near the top of a phenomenal lineup, who's going to do that? Because if they do, it'll be career changing for one band, and it'll be a bit like, you know, some war in the Black Sea, which we did in history. All you got to do is open up the sea pass, right? Is that what you called it? I can't remember.
The floodgates open.
Open the floodgates. You know, just open the pass up. If one gets through, others can follow. At the moment, it's just slammed shut. Right? They all think. All these great bands all think, well, we're never going to get a headline spot at a huge festival. So what do? Well, that's something that we can do. So there's people like me doing what we do, and there's promoters in the Midlands who I really like, who put on festivals which aren't massive but are of a good, cool vibe size. There's people all over the place. There's a couple in Scotland as well. We get together, we create a festival, right, and we give one of these bands headline spot, right, and the lineup's amazing. It might even have bigger names lower down, but we open those floodgates and we put one of these fantastic bands right at the top.
And I think the fact that these festivals get sold out is an atonement to how popular that these bands are in reality, and they're not just nameless faces that, oh well, 2 people like these guys or 3 people like these guys. That's not the case. I think there's a there's an underground core of fans. I mean, you know, we see them everywhere, like people like Gary and Helen Laird and people like that.
Yeah, the Lairds.
They're all around the country, and there's many people like them. And like you say, the bigger venues, the bigger festivals, radio stations, whatever, need to sit back and take a look and say, right, they're right, these guys need a platform. We need to do something to promote these guys, to give them that platform to shine and for people to get to see them, because at the moment they're not going to. Unless it's for you guys, that's the only way they get to see it.
All between us, all we are doing is we're somehow keeping it alive. If we all sat down, all of us, you know, every single person who's gone to a gig in the last 3 months in the whole country, if we all sat down on our asses and did absolutely nothing out of our love for music, because we all have it, if we did nothing for 3 months at all because, I don't know, there was a new series of Peaky Blinders on or something, we thought, no, I'm going to take 3 months off music. Trust me, in 3 months' time, the scene would be dead. That'd be it. It'd be all over.
Half the bands would be disbanded without a shadow of a doubt.
It'd be all over. So we are keeping this whole vibrant, beautiful, fantastic, brilliant scene alive ourselves. They are not doing anything.
But they need this lower vibe, this lower sustainable band structure for those bigger bands to still be around, because otherwise there's nobody there to support them. I mean, a band I know well, Tyler Bright and the Shakedown in the States, they spent the last 2 years going around the whole world literally supporting some of the biggest acts in rock music, Aerosmith, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses. And they were like main supports on all these stadium and arena tours all around the globe. I mean, literally global. But they'll still come over here and play to 30 people in a little pub called To Join Us in Southampton.
Really cool, isn't it?
And nobody will bat an eyelid. But they've had this great exposure, but you need more bands for that exposure. And the fact that they took a punt on them to do that and to support these big bands was fantastic for them. You know? Amazing opportunity.
So maybe America does it better than Britain.
They do some things, but I still think the music scene here, we have by far and away much better bands, I believe, without a shadow of a doubt. And you've only got to go to a thing like you had last
1980
Saturday.
or something.
Yeah, I mean, like last Saturday was just amazing. For the music we've got in the British Isles, you know, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and there was complete lack of VIP, I'd say, as well. The bands had to come in and load their gear through the front. We had backline, but they obviously had to front load some things in, so they had to go through. And
people got to see.
We know all these bands. Yeah. We get on with them really well, don't we? And it was just one big social event. There was no.
No, I mean
there was really no need for any VIP because these guys are too nice to even think about that. They just talk to everybody, and it's so
people got to see the dirty side of it. People got to see
the non-sexy side, as Jack J said it.
Yeah, people got to see you trying to get Jack J to reverse into the space, you know.
We do have plans for an alternative plan for that car park. That was the hardest thing.
But you know, people get to see that. All they normally get to see is a musician go on stage, play amazing, and that's it. But obviously with something like your festival, they get to see them lugging their own gear out, taking it upstairs, setting it up, and all the hard work, all the shift that goes on behind the performance, if you like, without which none of the performance would happen.
Well, Roger Waters of Pink Floyd wrote The Wall based on that. Pretty much that scenario. There was no connection between what they were producing in terms of art and what the crowd were doing in terms of appreciating it, because there was no interaction. They would go from the back, the fans would come through the front, and kind of the whole basis of the wall came from that Berlin Wall.
But I think the way it's happening, like the scene now, like you say, is that there's so much interaction between fans, musicians, bands, and that. And because without the fans, the bands wouldn't be able to survive as well, because they're the people that buy the merch, which is the main.
They were amazing on Saturday, weren't they?
I mean, the merch is the main money maker for most bands nowadays.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way they can really make money.
And they're all getting cleverer and better at doing that, and rightly so. Saturday, last week at Crazy Cowboy 3. 2 or 3 days previously, Jack J. Hutchinson's guitar amp blew up on him. They are not cheap.
I think you'll find he blew it up. Let's not cause the amp.
Was he playing a bit?
Yeah,
did he fire in a bit of Led Zeppelin or something? I don't know.
Well, I know he sold out, didn't he?
Well, so he ended up borrowing Guerrilla Arts gear on Saturday at Crazy Cowboy 3 because they're extremely cool guys and they already know each other, of course. Now the crowd last Saturday was so incredible with basically their generosity. He sold out of merch, completely sold out of merch, and he never turns up with 4 CDs and 2 T-shirts. Jack's organised.
Boxes, yeah.
He brings lots. He sold the whole lot, and it went so well that he was able to go out and buy an amp. I think on the Monday.
He got a new Marshall amp the next day, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's amazing. And like
there's interaction there between everybody. It's a team effort.
I think it's the appreciation as well. The appreciation of fans to have that contact. They're not untouchable. These guys aren't. No. You know. They're amazing musicians and musical gods, if you like, in a lot of ways. But
supersonic.
They're not untouchable.
No.
You know, and they are human. They still shit and fart like the rest of us, you know? Well, some of us. And they get...
I can shit anywhere. But you don't want to shit like me.
But they get to see that, and they get to meet their hero. Not to see even heroes, but meet these guys or these people that they see on stage, and they're, you know, amazed by how good they are musically. And it's a fantastic.
It's just magical, Will. It's magical.
It's great. And
the whole experience is magical.
And everyone appreciates it.
They do.
And it creates a good vibe that the band also can feed off of, as well as the fans feeding off the vibe from the band. It's like a real relationship that works. And like you say, we need more of that. The country needs more of that, and the radio stations need to play more of that. So,
but going back to, with that in mind, and going back to what we were saying about the radio stations, what we were saying about festivals, basically big festivals devaluing the value of music and basically screwing any chance of small venues surviving or small bands going on a little mini tour, or not putting bands on, giving them a chance and giving them a proper slot. What do? We've got a choice of 2 things. We can either get on our fucking knees like this and go, "Oh, Mr. Big Boy, oh, please keep our music alive. Can you do us a favour? You know your gods and peers." We can either do that. Well, fuck that, I'm not going to do that. They've had their chance. They've had their chance to do that, and they've blown it, right? So the alternative is that we galvanise it together and we fucking do it ourselves. And I don't see any reason why we can't. There is no reason why we can't get together. Idiots like me who are prepared to do this sort of thing, we can get together. We can make a bigger festival. We can do it 1 day or 2 days. We can do what we want. We choose the bands, and we drag it through to 2019 to 2020, not back to 1975. We choose the bands, and if we want to have an old band, won't mention any of the names. Yeah, we might have an old band, but we won't put them at the top. We might put them, halfway down, and they'll probably be happy. So let's do it ourselves.
So that's a big shout out to all the other promoters, all the people that we know, all the people you work with around the country.
Yeah, well,
to do it.
We all talk. We pretty much all talk to each other. You never know everyone. We all get on well. Anything is possible, and the beauty of all these people I know who do it all around the UK is that it's the same. They don't do it for money because there is no money. They don't do it for anything really. It's because they just love live music. It's in their soul. They have a passion for it. They know the buzz that you get from seeing everything come off well, seeing in particular a decent crowd, seeing everyone happy, seeing the bands progress. It's just the best. It's the second best thing in life, apart from sex.
I think at the end of the day, this needs to happen. I'm looking forward to the future because I have a feeling that this will happen. I think there's enough people with the strong will and passion like you're showing here to make it happen. Yeah,
I might have to hide out of the way because people don't like letting go of huge amounts of money. We're not even after their money, it's the prestige and the power people don't like to let go of. We're not looking to get their power, we're looking to reduce their power and distribute it 1 million ways across the nation.
And I have a feeling you may well achieve it. And for the sake of...
But I might wear a mask because some motherfucker will probably go back into my past and try and find some shit on me, and then I'll get,
But for the sake of the future...
banged up in a funny farm or something.
For the sake of the future of music, it needs to happen.
Yeah,
period.
I think so.
Period. So, listen, Alec, Crazy Cowboy, superstar of festivals, countrywide, friends of bands, of fans, of public, of media. You couldn't have spoken more from the heart and more truthfully if you tried. I just hope people see this, take it for how you've meant it to come across, and to act on it. And I hope you all get together and let's kick some ass and make this happen.
Oh, I love kicking ass. So if people want to join me and I can't do it, and we can make it do it because there's a few bodies, I'll kick some fucking ass. I don't know, all my life, no problem.
Right, well.
So we sold our soul for rock and roll.